Hey, welcome in to a special edition of the Sideline Report. I'm Jamie Hudson, alongside Oliver Maroney and Chris Burkhardt. The three of us together, we are bringing you this week's Sideline Report. We got to talk Trailblazers preseason, but we're also going to look ahead to the regular season because, guys, it is almost upon us.
It's here. Finally. Only took a month of preseason, but we're here.
Yeah, I know, seriously. Oliver, I want to start with you because as we look at preseason, there's only one preseason game left against the Golden State Warriors. What stood out to you with this Trailblazers team?
I think the continuity of the team has been pretty successful. I mean, most of all, we've been winning games, even though it's preseason, hold your horses a little bit. But I think overall the team has gelled pretty well. Evan Turner doesn't look fully involved yet, and obviously there's some question marks around that. But overall, the team looks great. I mean, it really does. From top to bottom, all the players that have rotated in and out, I've been really impressed with Mo Harkless, Alan Crabb. Both those guys have come up big time, Mo Harkless specifically, but also Mason Plumlee. I think he's made definitely leaps and bounds from what he was last season. So I'm excited, man. It's going to be a great season.
We talk about Mason Plumlee on the scoop
All the time.
And his basketball IQ. And now that he's got that mid-range jumper that little hook, we talked about that.
He is bringing that sky hook, and it looks good.
Yeah.
Even when he misses, it looks good.
I know. It is a thing of beauty. But, Chris, I was thinking about with the preseason, Shabazz Napier has been surprising.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And I kind of do think that there's some possibility he could get some backup point guard minutes and not just in garbage time.
Yeah, I think you're going to see that. I don't think it's going to be a night in, night out type thing. But Portland has a backup point guard on the depth chart now on that 2 deep who can come in and do a good job, right? Now you had Frazier, you had Roberts, but Shabazz Napier is better than both of those guys with the ability to run the offense and more so the ability to score points, right? Tim Frazier, I thought it was incredibly fun to watch because he could dribble well, he could penetrate, and his passes were top notch, but he wasn't going to score you points. Brian Roberts was going to get you 2 or 4 points, maybe a bucket, right? But Napier is a guy you could plug in, and he's probably going to go out there and get 10-7, 12-8, something like that if you needed to. But I don't think we're going to see him every single night. It's going to be spot minutes for sure, but I don't think it's going to be garbage time. I think he could be playing meaningful minutes when they need him to.
Yeah, have you liked what you've seen out of Shabazz?
Yeah, how can you not like it? I mean, really, he's been as good as you can possibly be as a backup point guard or third point guard, I guess you could call it. He's great at scoring, and his vision is really underrated. I mean, I think that his vision on the court has been superb. I mean, he set up a couple of alley-oops earlier in the preseason. I just like the way he's playing. He plays with a lot of drive and heart, and you love to see that, especially like fans around Portland really like to see guys give their all on the court, and I think Shabazz is definitely the definition of that.
It's probably the first time since Steve Blake left that Portland has a backup point guard that can hit a three-pointer too. Because Tim Frazier and Brian Roberts, they weren't deep. They weren't deep threats.
Right.
Shabazz has shown in the preseason that he can hit that deep ball.
Yeah. Oliver, you mentioned that Evan Turner didn't feel like he's really fitting in. I gotta say, I look at the core group, and of course, it's gonna be hard to break into that when you have that duo of Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum, and now that the starting lineup has played together and had such a successful year last year. I think that Evan Turner, I mean, it's not what you'd hope yet, but it's preseason. So I really believe that Evan Turner actually is fitting in. When we get to go to practice, watch him, he's definitely got that team chemistry. He jokes with the guys, definitely getting along with them, which is always a good thing.
Always.
What would you like to see out of Evan Turner more once the regular season gets underway?
I think really just making the most out of the minutes that he plays and making sure that he's taking advantage of the opportunities that he has. I mean, really, I think most people expect at this point that Harkless is probably going to be the starter, and that's totally fine, and I think Evan Turner's okay with that for the time being. But, when you look at what Evan Turner's skill set is, I think, the dynamic of Dame and CJ and then him as well, they're all very, you can clearly see that they're primary ball handlers. And, you can't have all three of those guys, I don't think, in a tandem 1, 2, 3. But I think Evan Turner coming off the bench and kind of revitalizing that sixth man role that we've kind of missed, I think, the past couple of seasons. I think Alan Crabb did a pretty good job in the playoffs, but I think him kind of revitalizing that sixth man and becoming that guy for Portland, playing 25-30 minutes a night, going in spot minutes late in games where you can defend a 1 through 3 position, whoever the best player on the team is. I think he's definitely got an opportunity because of his length and his size and his athletic ability. So he's got an opportunity. He just needs to make sure that he makes the most out of the minutes that he has. And if he can do that, I think you're going to see him continue to grow with this team. And I would expect the trajectory of minutes to go from 20 to 30 minutes as the season progresses.
Yeah, well, you're in agreement with Chris because Chris loves Evan Turner coming off the bench. I've still been talking about him starting, but Chris is all about that.
I think there's no reason to put Evan Turner in the starting lineup.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Roll with Harkless. If you decide to somewhere along the line, maybe you want to mix it up and put like a Myers-Leonard at the 4 or shift Aminu to the 3, that's fine too. But I think Evan Turner is best served coming off the bench. It's going to be able to spell CJ and Dame. Because if you look at the way they ran their rotation last year, Dame would play the entire first quarter, sub out at the beginning of the second. CJ would come in, be the primary ball handler. Now with Evan Turner being able to come off the bench, it's going to allow those two to get a little bit of a rest. And as Damian has stated, he enjoys the fact that when Turner's in there, he gets to play off the ball a little more. So that's huge. Now going back to fitting in, what I want to see from Evan Turner, and it's slowly starting to mature here, is he needs to find what his niche is with this team. Don't try to do so much. Are you going to be a facilitator? Are you going to be the primary bench scorer? Or are you going to be the guy that Coach Stotts looks to be a lockdown defender? And once he finds that, his niche, what he really needs to do to best fit in on the team, then there's no worries.
Mm-hmm. As we look ahead to Friday night's game against the Golden State Warriors, Blazers' last preseason game, which is very exciting. We're really happy to get going with regular season. But it'll be interesting to see. Typically, NBA coaches, they like to use the last few games to actually, play as if it was a regular season game.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. We talked about this on The Scoop, that the Blazers actually play. So they play the Nuggets, Clippers, Jazz, Warriors in their last week of preseason. Those are the 4 teams they play in the first week of the regular season. So you kind of think Coach Stotts isn't going to show all his cards, right? Because those are the people he's going to be playing, or the teams he's going to be playing. But what do you expect to happen on Friday's game against the Warriors?
I think another change of, he's got to change the lineups up again and kind of see what we have. This is the time that you can analyze every bit of this team. This is the only time that it really doesn't matter either for wins and losses' sake. So if you're going to, mix up Aminu at the 3, I know that that's happened a couple times this preseason. If you're going to try that a little bit more and try and go big, try and go small with Aminu at the 4 and then moving Turner in at the starting role, if you want to try a lot of those things, I think this is the time to do it. I wouldn't worry, and this is something that I think most coaches don't worry about, is wins and losses in the preseason. Although we've done well, it's a lot of it is changing the direction of where you want to go. If you have other players that you want to try and fit in, where do they fit? How do they fit? The only way to know is by putting them into the game situations and seeing how they play. So this is a huge opportunity. I think both Evan Turner and Mo Harkless have a lot to play for here. I know that Mo Harkless has kind of proven himself to be the starter, and most people think that. But if Evan Turner plays well, there's still some doubt at Terry Stotts' kind of helm, I guess you could say, on that decision.
Yeah, and really, NBA is all about matchups. So we could see a few different starting lineups just depending on who they're playing.
Yeah, and you got to think going into Golden State, you really got to tinker with that lineup a little bit. And I no matter who he starts, I don't think it says anything about who's going to be his regular season starter, because as you just said, I don't think Aminu's going to start at the 3 at all this season. But do you move him to a 3 for a game like this? Because size-wise, he matches up better with Kevin Durant than Mo Harkless does. Right. Do you decide to go with Evan Turner because he is a better defender than Mo Harkless, so you're going to put him in on Kevin Durant a little more? Still a lot there, but what I don't want to see really is, I understand this whole hey, it's the last run through, get guys minutes. I don't think they need to. As you and I said the other day, Jamie, I think, run those starters out there, your regular rotation in the first quarter, just like Kerr's going to do. Play hard, see what you got, really measure yourself. Then after the first quarter, 1.5 quarters in, back off. There's no need to let those legs get tired, no need to risk injury with preseason ending and regular season right around the corner. And then I want to see big minutes personally from, Connaughton, Layman, guys like that, who this might be the last time that they get decent runs. And then I want to see a lot of Quarterman, Jarrett, Steamsma, because this is the last chance those 3 have to make an impression to make the roster.
October 24th, the deadline for that final roster spot. Looking ahead to the regular season, we already mentioned that the Blazers will be playing the Jazz, Warriors, Nuggets, and Clippers right off the bat. But they start with a home game against Utah. And Chris, you talk about with the preseason and not wanting to get and not wanting any of the players to be injured. There it is. I think about Gordon Hayward with the Utah Jazz. So he's going to miss the first 3 weeks of preseason with that broken finger. And that's just, that breaks my heart for Jazz fans because that happened in the preseason.
Yep. That's a huge blow.
It really is.
That is a huge blow. I've said all preseason, you and I talking, that I think Utah is a playoff team. Mm-hmm. But I don't think they're top half of the conference. I think they're bottom half. And if you're in the bottom half, every win matters. And when you lose your best player for the first 3 weeks, that's a huge, huge hit for Utah.
Yeah, Oliver, your thoughts on Utah? Because there are some high expectations surrounding this team.
There are a lot of high expectations. I'm really surprised. I see a lot of people picking Utah over Portland in this Northwest Division as the champs, the leaders, or whatever you want to call it.
I'm shaking my head because that's who thinks that? That's crazy.
There's a lot of people out there who think it, but the thing is when you look at this injury, Gordon Hayward's their primary offensive threat, and that the last 5 minutes of the game when the Jazz are tied, when they're down by 2, when they're down by 4, or when they're up by a couple of points, that's a crucial position to be in. And if you don't have your primary guy playing, you've got to fill in with a guy like Rodney Hood, who I like. It's just, does he have the experience to kind of come in and step up and make those big shots in big minutes? So it's going to be really interesting, but I think the Utah Jazz have a rough schedule. The first 13, 14 games is going to be killer for them. I mean, this game against us, the Portland Trailblazers, when you're talking about these two teams, they're, with Hayward on the court, it's comparable. You take Hayward out of there, and I think the Blazers have the advantage now, and they should be able to win that game. It's just a lot more question marks regarding basically how Utah is going to perform this first 13 games, because as you said, every win matters. And you lose the first 5 or 6 games, man, it's going to be really difficult for them to kind of make that traction up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, the Blazers were able to do that last season, of course, having a rough start. And that's what I'm really looking forward to, guys, is seeing how quick of a start they can have this year and just how good it's going to be, because we've seen flashes of it in preseason. And the thing about preseason that I think fans forget is that the players really think oh yeah, it is preseason. So that's you don't want to get hurt, so you don't go full force. Right. You're not totally into these games.
Definitely,
right?
Yeah. No, you're not totally there. You think they're about 85% of what they should be most of the time. Plays that they may, get frustrated or upset about. You definitely see a little bit of smiles or smirks about it for the first couple games in preseason, but. Yeah, it's going to be really intriguing to see this Blazers team and where they've come from last year to this year. And then obviously Ezeli, question marks about him coming into the season. But Ezeli and Turner, both of them, I mean, those guys are going to be worked into this rotation, and it's going to be really, really fun to watch. These guys, along with one of the deepest rosters in the NBA in my book, and see how Terry Stotts can kind of make this rotation work, make these guys work, and then also hopefully we get into a top 4 playoff team or something along those lines and kind of see where the season takes you.
Yeah, no kidding. With this regular season, it's nice there's only 15 back-to-backs for the Blazers, down from 20.
Wonderful.
That's good. I know, Chris goes on the road a lot, so he gets to go with those. But I think that this season actually looks pretty good when you look at the end of the season. There's a lot more home games for the Blazers, which is always nice because they're at the end of the season, you're tired. And it's usually you're trying to figure out who's going to land where in the Western Conference standings. So with having more home games, having Rip City behind you, that should definitely be helpful.
Yeah. Hey, I told you this the other day. I feel like those 4 and 5 game trips that just kind of wear you out and beat you up, they have those now at the beginning of the season. I feel like the last 2, 3, 4 seasons, those have all been in February, March, and you're already tired, you're battling for a playoff spot, and all of a sudden you got to go on a 5-game trip. That's hard on anybody, no matter what team you are, whether you're the best team or the worst team, it doesn't matter. 5-game trips suck, and they're not like 5 games in 2 weeks. No, they're 4 games in 5 nights half the time, and it's awful. The fact that they get those out of the way pretty early in the season is huge, because this Portland team is notorious for playing better as the season goes on. Every single year under Stotts, the first couple weeks is ironing things out, and then by the end, they put runs together that vault them into good playoff position. Now, like you alluded to earlier, I want to see them, regardless of these trips or not, come out of the gates hot and not have to rely on a big run at the end of the year like it was a couple years ago. What was it, a 14-game win streak or something like that put them into, from on the brink to into the playoffs?
Yeah.
So, I want to see them come out hot right now. Just come out of the gates somewhere along the lines. I mean, because you're thinking 50-win team, so it's a little over, 40 wins would be 50%. If they go out and go, 10-10, 12-8 in their first 20, I really won't be that disappointed, because I don't think this team's going to be the team you want to come out of the gates. Because, as Oliver alluded to, once they get a healthy Ezeli, things change. And I've told this to Jamie all preseason, Oliver, is do not rush Ezeli in. Do not worry about getting him in, because where he is going to be most important for this Blazer team is when it's the last month of the season, that knee's healthy, he's healthy, they go to the playoffs, and now all of a sudden they got a 7-foot big body who can play defense and rebound, and it's going to be huge come playoff time.
And who knows what the postseason is all about.
Right.
Definitely. That's why they picked him up, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
that's a lot of it is postseason experience. You've got to love, obviously, his effort and energy and just what he's brought to this team already without even playing. I'm expecting big things from Ezeli. I think most people are. He's one of the best centers in the league as far as defensive presence goes. And then you throw a guy like Turner once he finds his role. And that's the big thing about the NBA, and people don't understand, knowing your role. If you go outside of your role, a lot of times you don't have the confidence, you don't have the belief in yourself. And, as much as that's understated, like I said, I just can't say enough about knowing what your role is going to be on a team. And Stotts has really been good the past couple of seasons in finding that role, finding that niche, as you said, for most of these players. And I think Evan Turner is going to be the same way. We'll see him the first month or two, kind of get the kinks out of the armor, and then I think midway through the season, I think I can expect big things from him.
Yeah, the thing is, Oliver, too, is people tend to live in this little bubble of the now and not realize what has happened historically, right? Because last year, going into the season, you have question marks around how's CJ McCollum going to do being a starter all of a sudden. He's not backing up Wes Matthews. And then Al-Farouq Aminu couldn't hit a shot in the first couple games, and people are, how's he going to fit in? He's not doing what we thought he would do. And then by season's end, McCollum is one of the better shooting guards in the league, and Aminu is knocking down clutch threes against the Clippers. So these question marks that people have are just always funny. They're there. We talk about them, and I think you have to have them.
Yeah.
But it's just so hard to say, because you talk about Evan Turner fitting in, and sure, a couple weeks into the season, people are going to say it. Us probably too. Man, it's not looking good for Turner. He's not acclimating as quick as I thought he would. The shot's not falling, and then by season's end, talk's probably going to be that, man, Evan Turner's defense has been huge down the stretch for Portland.
That was such a big pickup.
His ability to handle the ball is so crazy. And the reason I bring that up is because even guys like CJ McCollum, who's well loved in Rip City, guys like Aminu, who people love at the 4 right now, they have to take that time to acclimate. And Evan Turner, you really think about it, he only has 5-6 preseason games under his belt. It's not a lot of time to acclimate.
Yeah, no kidding. When we talk about Damian Lillard, I was talking to Oliver earlier before we started our sideline report, and Damian Lillard ranked 10th in Slam Magazine's rankings, right?
Yeah, Slam Magazine, yeah.
So Oliver's question was the whole rankings, because obviously Sports Illustrated came out with their rankings, and Damian Lillard was at 21. Okay, you guys ready for this? I feel like I need to be like the buffer of these two. I'm like, smackdown. So where should Damian Lillard be ranked? I'm going to give you some time to think about that, because honestly, I don't think there should be rankings when they're still playing. I only like the whole look at his career overall and then rank him. That's where I'm at with it, because when you're still playing, I don't know, I think it's weird. Plus, with Damian Lillard, when I think about rankings as a whole, as a player, his defense, yeah, it's improved, but it's got to get better if you do want to be in that top 10 ranking. But apparently, Slam Magazine says there he is in number 10. So
I'll take the floor. Take the floor, and I'll steal it.
I'm going to say that he's right in the mix as a top 10 player. I don't think he's necessarily there just yet. And sorry, Blazer fans, if that sounds a little bit non-biased, I guess you could call it. But, when you look at Damian Lillard, he's, as you mentioned, one of the best offensive players, virtually unguardable, I think is what they quoted in Slam Magazine, or unguardable. He's one of the few players that can get really hot really quickly in any game. He's hit big shot after big shot. His offense speaks for itself. But on the defensive end of the floor, and I think when you're ranking players like this, you have to take everything into consideration. Defense, offense, the team they're on, how much they're valued on their team. And I think, for the most part, Lillard's a very valuable player for the Trailblazers. I don't think we would be in the playoffs last year if it weren't for Damian Lillard. Mm-hmm. But that being said, I don't think, like I said, his defense is there just yet as far as a point guard's concerned. I think there's other guys like a Chris Paul who is a better two-way player. And for that reason, like I said, I would probably count him outside the top 10, probably a top 15, top 20 player at the current moment. I think he's definitely a franchise player. I think he's definitely someone who's going to just continue to grow and get better and improve. And to be fair, he hasn't had the supporting cast like a lot of these players we're talking about. I mean, if Damian Lillard had Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan next to him, it's a different story, I think. But
it's not even a different story for Chris Paul, though, because the Clippers just make me mad. But anyways,
all right.
Keep going.
Well,
sorry.
when you see it in the scheme of things, like I said, I just think two-way player is a very big portion of any time you do these rankings. I'm surprised he was in the top 10 for Slam Magazine. Good on him for putting him in there and taking that risk. But for me, I'm closer to the SI kind of top 100. I think they had him at 21. So, yeah. What's your opinion, Chris?
I think he's top 2.
Ooh.
No, not really. I'm going to go top 25.
Okay.
Top 25. You look at the position at point guard in the NBA is so stacked right now. You could argue that you're almost in a golden era because almost every single team has a very talented point guard. That being said, Damian Lillard is towards the top of his position, but I don't think he's towards the top of the NBA. You think in his position alone, if you had the chance, and I understand Blazer fans are biased, and they should be, right? It's their guy. But if you had the chance to start a team from scratch and you're looking at who you're taking, are you taking a Damian Lillard or a Chris Paul? I'm taking a Chris Paul. He's the best two-way guard in the league.
Yeah.
Are you going to take a Damian Lillard or a Russell Westbrook? I'm taking Russell Westbrook because I think Russell Westbrook is the most unguardable guy in the NBA. He plays athletically, he can match up, so he plays a better defense than Damian Lillard. Obviously, I do think Damian Lillard is probably the better overall facilitator, but still, I think Russell Westbrook's better. And then you got to there's other guys that are comparable. They're not putting up the points or the crazy shots, but the fact that they're so good at the end of their careers, Tony Parker, I mean, that you have to consider that Tony Parker is probably still a top 20 player in the league with how smart he is, right? Then let's just keep talking because there's so many players you can go down, but almost the entire Golden State roster, right? Are you going to take Damian or are you going to take Curry? I think most people are probably going to take Curry, right? Thompson, Durant, Green. Blazer fans hate it, but LaMarcus Aldridge still a talented player. I mean, there are so many good players in this league that to put him in the 10, it's tough to do. However, that being said, I'm saying that based on what we've seen so far, up until this point. And I said this just the other night to Jamie Oliver when we were on the scoop, and I firmly believe this. I think this year is the year he jumps from a top 25 player, makes that statement, and has to be considered a top 10. If you follow the career arc that Damian is going on and compare that to what Curry went on, his numbers year in and year out, compare year 1 to year 2 to Curry, his numbers are better than what Curry put together in those years. And Curry's made that jump and is one of the best in the league. Damian, what I've seen in the preseason, hitting shots with ease. I think he's increased his distance from the basket, being able to hit threes. Yeah. I feel his overall game has gotten a little better from what he showed us in the preseason. And then he has that grit, that moxie, that one that you really can't go to practice and learn. You just inherit it and you just do it. He has that leadership, that bulldog mentality. I really think this is a year that Damian jumps and people everywhere around the league, not just Rose City, people know who Damian Lillard is. And to that point, during the Lakers-Warriors game the other night, Jalen Rose said that he thinks Damian Lillard is going to win the MVP.
Chris got a big head on that one.
Yeah,
and Jalen Rose.
I said if Jalen Rose said it, then I can say it again. But if not MVP, I definitely think Damian Lillard's going to be in consideration for it. And of course, we'll see come All-Star break because there's absolutely no reason that guy should get snubbed 2 years in a row.
Yeah, when you talk about his overall game, and not only is he shooting deeper threes, it's crazy, but his ability to take it to the hoop and finish. There's a lot of times where he'd get fouled or he'd be bumped down there because that's what happens when you're a smaller point guard, right? But he has been able to finish around the basket this preseason. today, probably too at practice.
Yeah, probably. Right.
This preseason though, and that's been really impressive. And he has been saying he's working on his defense, and that's the Blazers' focus right now. When we talk to them at practice, they're saying, "Yeah, we're working on transition defense.
Yep.
We're trying to talk more and communicate on defense." We haven't seen it so much in the preseason, but they are at least talking about it. So you know there's got to be something happening with that defensive mindset. But I'm with you on Damian Lillard having an even better year, and I am so excited to see the Lillard and McCollum duo again this year because now they've got it all figured out. You know?
And to go back to what we were just talking about, what I said about. Oliver said it too. I would put him more in the 20 to 25 range. And as I started naming names and showed you just how stacked talent-wise this NBA is right now, calling Damian Lillard a top 25 is no slight whatsoever. Yeah. That means he's in the top 25 players in the entire world.
Yep.
And I think once you get out of that top 25 and maybe go from about 25 to 50, I think there's a big gap there, a big jump talent-wise. Because I personally think like CJ McCollum is right there, probably really close to Damian, creeping into that top 25. But there is a gap there between the second-tier players and those first-tier players. Damian's a first-tier player. There's just a lot of them to compare. And I don't think anyone's wrong if now person C comes in and says, oh, no, let me tell you why he's a top 10 player, because there could definitely be the argument made. But saying he's top 25, no slight whatsoever.
Yeah, no kidding.
Definitely not. No, I would definitely agree with you on the whole top 25 thing. I mean, don't take it the wrong way. Top 25 in the NBA right now is incredible. I mean, you're talking like this is historically one of the best I've seen individual players-wise. I mean, you talk about some of these guys. I mean, they're all going to – the top 5 will probably be in the Hall of Fame pretty shortly, in the next 10, 15 years or so. Yeah. You've got LeBron, you've got Durant, you've got Curry. I mean, you go through the list. I mean, obviously Golden State has 4 of probably the top 25. But you go through the list. You named Russell Westbrook down there. I mean, there's Paul George. Some of these guys.
Kyrie Irving. It just keeps going. The best players in this league. It's nuts.
It's nuts. It's overwhelming, to be honest. I mean, it's so hard to compare these guys, and you can't. And to any of these rankings. As Jamie said, it's very difficult while they're continuing to play to grade these guys on how good they are compared to their peers when they don't play on the same team or they don't play against each other on a night-to-night basis. And basketball, it's a team sport. As much as people like to think it's individualistic, and there's a lot of individuals that get awards and receive awards and make their team so much better, it's still a team sport. So, I mean, Damian may pass up shots that Kyrie or someone else may shoot. And so for that reason, it's really hard to compare the two, even on a night-to-night basis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'd say if there was a rankings for a leader and a vocal leader and someone that is respected on the team, it would definitely go to Lillard. But I hate rankings for some reason.
I can tell.
Yeah. Anyways, okay, so this has been a fun sideline report. You guys have anything else you want to chat about? We just have a few days until the regular season.
Just a few days.
Yeah.
It's coming up.
It's coming up quickly.
Western Conference standings, we mentioned, obviously. So I just want to get your top 4. Let's get your top 5. Who do you think where they're going to fall?
All right.
Because we're going to play this back in April, okay?
All right. There you go. Yeah, make me look really dumb. I think the Warriors will finish number 1. I don't think they'll have as many struggles as people are anticipating for the first couple of months here. Right. I think they'll be number 1.
That team's so good that struggles are still 50 wins, right?
That would be like, oh, God.
Yeah. I think struggles are close to 60 wins.
You're right.
Yeah. I'm trying to find a way how they lose games. I don't really understand. But, yeah, I'd say the Warriors number 1. And then I think the Clippers are going to be number 2 in the Western Conference this year. I really like what DeAndre Jordan did in the offseason. With the Olympic team, I think he showed that he could be a dominant big man, and as long as Blake Griffin and CP3 are healthy, that team's dangerous. Doc Rivers is, I don't know how many years in a row. It just feels like every year we're like, all right, this is the year the Clippers make the jump from a playoff team to a conference finals team, and it just never happens.
That's why they make me mad.
Yeah. There you go. Well, so it was a good thing for Blazers fans last year.
Keep that in your back pocket. We'll talk about that more here. We'll keep this sideline report going now.
Okay, so Clippers 2.
Clippers 2. I'd go the San Antonio Spurs 3. I think, Popovich is going to come around and do the same thing that he's done throughout his career, which is anytime anyone doubts their team, they seem to continue to win 50-plus games and continue to just kind of cruise into the playoffs like they normally do. So they're going to be They're going to be good. And then I think Portland. I think Portland's number 4 in the Western Conference this year. I think they're going to win 50-plus games. I'm on record in saying that multiple times. I think McCollum and Lillard take the jumps that they need to, especially Lillard. I think most people are expecting it, but everybody around the league seems to think that Lillard is going to take another step. And if he can do that, along with all the talent that this team has, they're going to be number 4. And then for number 5, that's way up in the air. I'll go with Houston.
Really?
Yeah, I like the Houston Rockets this year. I'm kind of a...
I'm writing that
I'm a
down
believer.
because I am not
I'm a believer. I'm a believer in the Mike D'Antoni and James Harden going to point guard. I think it'll work out. They got a lot. They're going to be a top 2 or top 3 offense in the NBA. That's a prediction for you.
Well, that's great, but they still have James Harden trying to play defense. So,
all right, fine.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, you two. I'm up next. Okay, I've got no surprise Warriors, then Spurs, but I am curious to see how no Tim Duncan this year for San Antonio. That's going to be so sad for Spurs fans. But then again, you think about the Lakers fans; they're a little sad there too about Kobe. But okay, 3. I do think it better be the Clippers. Let me say that, because that core group. Here's why I get so mad. That core group: DeAndre Jordan, Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, and then you have Jamal Crawford as the 6th man. They've been together for so long.
yeah.
They on paper they look like they should be at least number 3, if not 2. Yeah, going to the Western Conference Finals. So anyways, Clippers.
I'm with you. I don't get it.
And then, at number 4, I definitely think it will be the Blazers. No doubt about that. Okay, 4 or 5, I'll say that. Being safe.
It's going to be close. It's going to be close. Okay. Whoever's up there, it's going to be close.
Houston, though, I think they're going to be at 8th if they make the playoffs.
All right. Well,
that 5th spot is going to be difficult. I mean, maybe if Utah's healthy, I could actually see that.
That's not a bad pick at all.
I mean, I don't know where Dallas will end up. 7th or 8th.
Hey, they got Harry B on their team, so they're set.
There you go. Okay, I'm good with my predictions. I'm just going top 4, really.
All right.
You're next.
No surprise. Warriors number 1. Like we said, even if they struggle out of the gate to find chemistry, they're still going to win games. They have an NBA all-star team suited up in the Bay right now. The only thing is I think they took a hit at depth.
Yeah.
And the unfortunate part is, as good as Steph Curry is, he's playing on glass ankles, and he's one injury away. As you saw at the end of last year when the ankle injury reared its ugly head, the team just wasn't the same without him on the court. But even without him, they're a top-tier team.
Yeah.
That's number 1. I think San Antonio is coming in at number 2. I think a lot of people are talking about losing Tim Duncan, and I think in talking so much about losing Tim Duncan, people are forgetting they added Gasol. And even at his age, you compare where Gasol is right now to where Tim Duncan was last year. Gasol is a much better player. Yeah. And both Gasol brothers are 2 of the smartest players in the NBA. So you just added a perfect basketball mind to mesh with Coach Popovich. I don't think they take a step backwards. The only interesting fact is Gasol, because he's way better right now than Tim Duncan was, still playing at an all-star level, he's going to command the ball a lot more than Tim Duncan or any of the other bigs did. And how that sits with LaMarcus Aldridge is going to be very, very interesting. That dynamic could make or break what San Antonio does.
That's true.
3, I think I'm going to put the Blazers at 3. I'm going to let them take the jump at 3. But I say this because I think all season long, either they're battling for the 3 and 4, or they're battling for the 4 and 5. But I think the Clippers and Blazers are going to be games within each other, and it's going to come down to the final week to see where they go. But I'm going to put Blazers at 3, and I'm going to go the Clippers at 4. And I said this to Jamie last night on the scoop. I think for the Clippers, it is Western Conference Finals or bust.
Bingo.
If they do not take the next step and actually get to the Western Conference Finals, it is time to blow that team up and start over, because you can only do the exact same thing every single year, and if you don't make a change but you expect different results, that's on you. And I think it's time to blow them up if they don't make the Western Conference Finals. Because if they make the finals, Western Conference Finals, but lose them, you can say, you know what? We did. We took the step. We did what we needed to do. We're right there. Add one more piece. We're going to go give it one more chance. That's what they got to do. 5th seed?
Gonna go Houston.
I'm going to give it to Oklahoma. I'm going to go out on that limb because not a lot of people are picking them high. But
no, a lot of people are. Don't do this.
No, well, you say they are. I've seen people say they're all over the place, but I like them at 5 just because Westbrook and Oladipo are both going to score the ball.
Yeah.
Cantor, I mean, that guy's going to score you buckets around the rim. And then probably one of my favorite big men in the league because he's just so darn fun to watch. Steven Adams he's cool.
I think he's great in the locker room.
That's just the best. That's just the best. He's cool. Steven Adams is cool. I love that guy. Maybe it's because he's got that little island vibe down there, and he's got that the island tats and being an islander. I like that. But Steven Adams is awesome. So that's probably
the best quote ever.
That's
Steven Adams. He's cool.
That's my top 5. If we're gonna talk standings, though, if you guys don't mind, because hey, we're not on a timeline here, and we can edit. If we decide it's not good, we can edit it out. But we're not going to because it's gonna be good.
We're gonna cut you out. Actually,
we just gave our top 5.
Right.
And the reason I'm saying this is because outside of the Houston versus, she said Dallas, I said Oklahoma. We were very different on number 5, but our top 4 was the exact same, just outside of placing.
Right.
I think the bigger question marks are, what's your bottom half of the Western Conference? Because I think most experts are in agreement with those top 4.
Yeah.
I mean, probably 99% of them are going to say those teams in a very similar order. But the bottom half is where all the questions are. So I want to throw it to the same. Let's go the same way. Let's throw it to Oliver first. We know your Houston is 5, but give us your 5, 6, 7, 8.
Okay, so Houston would be 5, is what I said earlier. So then 6 would be Utah, in my opinion. I think Utah is going to be there. I can't see a team that is defensively that good as long as they stay moderately healthy. Gobert and Favors have to stay healthy, really.
Yes.
That's a crucial front court. I mean, that's one of the best front courts in the league. And I think so they'll be 6. You'll look at them and sit back and say if they had Gordon Hayward the first couple of games, I think they could actually end up getting up to a 4 seed potentially. But after Utah, it's really difficult. I do not think Memphis makes the playoffs. I will say that right now.
Wow.
I don't like their depth. I think that they have way too many old veterans.
But they have the highest paid player in the league. That's got to mean something.
I know. It's like, I just feel like you talk about like glass ankles with Steph Curry. That whole team is like glass ankles.
That is very true.
Marc Gasol, that scares me. At the age that he is at and the surgery that he had, there's just not a lot of historical evidence to say that he's going to come back in a reasonable time frame and be as good as he was. So I'm a little bit scared with that. I think Zach Randolph could be 6th man of the year. I'll throw that out there too. But when you look at the Memphis Grizzlies, I just don't think they're good enough. When you go to 7, though, I'm gonna go. I think I'd say, I've got to go probably Dallas. Okay. I think Dallas. They've got a top 5 coach in the league. Like Carlisle just seems to every year. It's like, this team cannot make the playoffs. There's no way. He takes these guys that are supposedly way out of their primes and puts them back in their primes. Yeah. Like Ray Felton looked like almost an all-star point guard for a while in Dallas. It's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, and look what Stotts is doing in Portland.
Exactly.
Graduated from the school of Rick Carlisle.
Exactly. There you go. Dirk Nowitzki just never ages. They've got some really good young guys that I like. Justin Anderson, Dwight Powell, both those guys are very, very good, talented guys. God. Harrison Barnes, Andrew Bogut is probably the free agent, or not free agent, but the pickup of the season, I think. I mean, for what they got him for.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a no-brainer to me. I think he's a great center. So I think Dallas sits at 7, and I've got the Pelicans at 8.
Oh.
Give me the Pelicans. Yeah.
Wow.
I like the Terrence Jones edition.
I gotta say, what's the bigger surprise here? Houston at 5 or the Pelicans making the playoffs? I'm a little confused.
I know.
Anyway, let's hear it.
Each Moore, great signing. Okay, I really like E'Twaun Moore. Terrence Jones was one of the pickups of the offseason as well, based on his dollars. He's on a minimum contract, and the guy's like 24 years old, and best friends with like Anthony Davis. So I think the chemistry is already there. Anthony Davis supposedly healthy for the start of the regular season, so that's a big, big plus. And if Drew Holiday can come back, let's say late November, December area, I think they have a real good shot to make the playoffs.
If they don't make the playoffs,
hey, everyone's coming for me.
No, if they don't make the playoffs, watch the rumor mill churn with Anthony Davis rumors because people are going to be trying to get him if they can't make that jump. Jamie.
Okay, I'm up. Okay, so I already decided what was my fifth. See,
Dallas. Dallas was your fifth.
Oh yeah, Dallas. So 6, I would go with Oklahoma City because I still think Russell Westbrook. I have to. I can. Russell Westbrook still is gonna kill it. And besides, I am a Gonzaga grad, as you two know, but maybe not everyone knows. Domantas Sabonis is now an Oklahoma City Thunder.
I'm a fan of him.
Player.
I like him.
Yeah. So there we go. Hey, come on, Sabonis.
Yeah.
I think everyone in Portland too is looking forward to seeing what he can do in the NBA. Not just me. Okay, so that's 6. Oh gosh, I'm trying to figure out where I want to put Houston, and I think like Sacramento maybe could get 8th. Because I don't believe.
Whoa, that is more surprising than anything Oliver said. You are off the hook with the Houston and the Pelican thing because
this is my bold prediction.
Holy smokes.
Man, I don't know how.
Somebody get me some water.
Hey, we're
Dave
going to
Yeager
play
is a
this
good
back
coach,
in April.
but I don't know
I'm
how
smile.
good you can be to be in that situation.
Dave Yeager is a very good coach.
Yeah, see, maybe things will be turned around now with no George Karl. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, it works out great when you have Ty Lawson on your team.
Hey, I still have faith in DeMarcus Cousins and being able
Cousins.
to.
Yeah,
Hey,
Cousins
Boogie
and Cauley Stein gonna tear it up.
Over under on
Maybe.
technical fouls for Cousins, 20.
Over.
Yeah. Wait, did I skip 7? I think I kind of skipped the 7. I guess
said
Houston.
Houston?
Then
You gave me
is there.
You gave us
Okay,
Dallas.
Houston's there.
Oklahoma
Okay.
City.
I'm sorry. In my brain, I'm like, I don't know. Not hate. I don't think Houston can make the playoffs. I don't think so.
Okay.
But I guess I have to put them at 7th because I'm trying to remember. No, Nuggets won't make it. But I don't.
Not a
I
surprise.
don't believe in.
You don't believe in
the
Utah?
plugins. No, I had Utah up.
You had 4.
Yeah,
5.
5,
4.
4.
4. Yeah,
4.
she jumped
So
in.
many
No.
teams.
No, there's no way.
You didn't put Utah in.
I don't think you put Utah in, but, well, we're
Jamie's
gonna...
ready. We're gonna
No, I
recap.
did. I remember.
What? No.
I don't remember what number, but I said I have good faith in Utah.
Okay, whatever.
Well, they're making the playoffs.
We're gonna
That's all I
rewind
know.
this.
Yeah,
All right.
I need a better.
Where are you
memory.
at? Where are you at, Chris?
I had Oklahoma 1. I had San Antonio 2. Blazers 3. Clippers 4. Oklahoma 5.
Oklahoma.
Oh, excuse
Golden
me.
State.
Golden State.
We
That's
knew
what I
it.
meant.
Holy
That's what I
cow.
meant.
Thinking
I was about to say,
Oakland.
that would be crazy.
Sorry.
That would
So
be
I
nuts.
had Golden State 1. San Antonio. Then the Blazers, Clippers. Then I had the Thunder. I think then the next one there at 6. I'm probably gonna stick with Utah. Go with that. I think they're gonna if they stay healthy.
Asterisk next to it.
Yes,
Big
they're
one.
they're making the jump. If they stayed healthy last year, they should have been in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Then it comes down to the 7-8, which I think is going to be just as intriguing as the matchup between probably the 3 and 4, which I think, like I said, Blazers and Clippers all year long battling. And it's a 3-team race, in my opinion, between Dallas, Memphis, and Houston. And I got to go Dallas in 7th. I think they're still going to put it together. Yeah. One thing that kind of flies under the radar, I was reading the other day, Oliver may know about this, but that Mark Cuban just splurged and built a brand new practice facility for them across from the arena. And what people don't realize is everyone's like, well, what does that have to do with anything? Their practice facility was under the stadium. And it was just an old little basketball court, nothing special, but they had to actually battle for time to get in there when there was hockey games or concerts and things like that. And it was actually
on ice.
Yeah, it was actually a struggle to schedule practices.
There's a lot of events.
Yeah, but now they have a dedicated practice facility with the saunas, the jacuzzis, all the stuff that's going to help guys, as you talk about the older guys like Dirk, kind of sustain that long season. I think that's an undervalued addition that Mark Cuban has down there. So they're at 7. And then I'm going to go Memphis 8. I think Houston is the odd team out. And, if they can stay healthy, I mean, Memphis and Utah are the 2 teams with the biggest asterisks about health. Mm-hmm. If they can stay healthy, I think they're there. Because, like I said, Gasol brothers, they're 2 of the most, basketball-savvy players in the league. Zach Randolph, whether you start him, you put him on the bench, or you put him in for 5 minutes of garbage time, he's going to get you a double-double. They're a talented team if they can just put it together. But the thing is, they're not a team that I think is going to be a team that gets in at the 8 seed and upsets anyone in the playoffs. I don't think they're that good. Right. And then there's Houston right there at 9, just because I just don't have that much faith in James Harden and company. However, back to what Oliver said, because I mentioned this to Jamie last night too, it could be really interesting because I think Harden likes to push that ball, and with D'Antoni, it's a perfect coach-player combo. But when your best player lacks the leadership that some of the other teams have with their best players. I think that is a struggle. I mean, he's ran people or players and coaches out of that city before, so it's going to be interesting. But I say that again, those 3 teams that I mentioned, the last 3, Dallas, Memphis, Houston, are going to be battling to the end, and I don't think Pelicans or the Kings are anywhere close to making the playoffs.
Hey, bold predictions. You got to do a couple every season.
I know. It makes it a lot more fun.
It does.
Sweet. This was fun. The sideline report.
Hey, this was a good one.
Yeah. Thanks for hanging out, doing the sideline report.
Things are better with Burkhardt.
Yeah, that's why
that's like a statement. Like, I know. Have that like right there or something. That was pretty good.
Things are better with Burkhardt. Okay,
they're
cool.
probably
Okay, cool. That's it for the sideline report. We'll be bringing you a lot more during the regular season. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.